Aloha everyone, welcome. I'm Abaya, and today we're going to be focusing on our feet, our knees, and our hips, and we're going to wake up a lot of awareness and a lot of support that's going to feel really good. So with that, we can begin. Take a turn to your right. And then gently begin to recline on your back and let the reclining be part of your practice. So you're feeling and you're paying attention. You're starting to notice your shoulders and your neck and your core. And then make sure the left side of your body is facing me. So you can reach out your left arm and it'll be like you're reaching towards the screen. And if it's not your left arm, then turn around. And once we've figured all of that out, come to stillness and give yourself permission to make adjustments. You may notice sensation in your neck and your shoulders. See if you can wiggle around and create a little space. Sometimes walking the shoulders down the back or tucking the chin so the back of the neck lengthens. Scan your spine, scan your hips. If you feel pressure in the low back, you can bend the knees. In fact, let's all bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet to the mat about hips width distance. And now pause and make sure you feel supported so that you can relax. And if it's possible, try breathing through your nose and bring a gentle smile to your mouth as you breathe. Hi Ria, welcome. And try to observe your breath without changing it. And notice the gentle sensations of prana filling the body, gently creating more space, bringing in more nourishment and awareness. And keep your focus inside as you exhale and see if you can find that balance point where everything pauses and there's a sense of weightlessness. And we'll take a few easy breaths like this and make any adjustments to the physical body that help you to be as comfortable as possible. And then keep breathing. Keep observing the breath. If you're using the playlist, you can hit play on the first track. Make sure it's set to loop. It should be called Maria. And then come back to this starting position and bring your awareness down to your feet. And gently lift one set of toes so the heel stays down but the toes lift. And then put those toes down and lift the other toes. And go back and forth. For those of you learning about the foot right now, this is dorsiflexion as we lift the toes, plantar flexion as we set them down. You might notice sensation in the front of the ankle, that little bit of contraction all the way up the shin and then the releasing. Also begin noticing the sensation on the sole of that foot, the little gentle tapping. And imagine you're tiptoeing on a really squeaky wood floor, and you have to be really gentle as you put your foot down. Notice how much control is possible when you're really careful. And then release the feet down and imagine there's like a pencil under your foot and you're trying to pick up the pencil, and so the foot squinches up a little bit and then releases, and then the other foot squinches up and releases. And do this a couple of times, noticing the arches activate. Don't overdo it. You don't want any strain, but just try to feel that sensation of wrinkling the bottom of the foot. And then equal weight in both feet, and notice if it's a little easier to be aware of the soles of the feet now. Open your arms to T. Bring the hands palm face up. Reach out through the fingers. Let the shoulder blades slide wide so the back of the heart can melt into the mat. Keep the big toe of each foot down as you start to windshield wiper the knees from side to side. So you'll notice this movement is limited when the big toe stays down, and you might start to feel some strength and support in the feet, running up the inner leg line, supporting the inner knee and the inner groin. Next time the knees start to fall to the left, let them fall all the way, roll onto the left side, and bring the left arm underneath you, supporting your head. Draw the heels in alignment with the hips. Bring right hand to hip. Keep the right hip exactly where it is, and slowly begin lifting the right knee. The hips shouldn't move. Release the knee down. This gentle movement begins awakening the glutes. You can bring your hand to the back of the hips, and you might even feel that very gentle toning of the glute muscle. You don't want to overdo it here, but try to feel how much work it takes to gently lift the knee here. Throughout our entire class, I'm going to be talking about the connection from the big toe into the glute, and keeping a gentle tone in the glute. So it's about this much effort that we'll be applying. So hopefully you're noticing there's no gripping, there's no tightening. It's just a brightening in the back of the hip. It might be getting really bright and warm. Let's relax that now. Reach the left arm forward, plant right hand on top, and slowly start to draw a rainbow with the right hand sweeping up and over to the right hand side. The knees will lift, the right shoulder and hand come down. Cross the right leg over the left, and it might feel good to keep the right shoulder down as the knees gently point to the left, stretching out the glute that was just working. And then hover the knees to center and draw some circles with the knees. Make a few circles. Let them be really small at first, because that's going to wake up more stabilization in the hips. Go the other direction. And if you want to make bigger circles, you can. Just keep both shoulder blades down. You might notice how that actually takes some core strength. Keeping the legs crossed, roll back onto the left side where you just were. Support your head again. And reach your right fingers towards me. Slowly circle the right arm up and overhead. And as it crosses the midline and reaches behind you, let it peel the heart open. Make sure there's no strain on the knee, so you might not go very far here. And then go back the way you came. And we'll just do that a few times. This is a gentle twist, and it also provides a massage to the bottom shoulder. You can do whatever you want with the bottom arm. I'm gently cradling my head with my left hand, but do whatever is most comfortable for your shoulder and your elbow. The next time the arm starts to circle overhead, let the circle continue until the right shoulder comes down. Let the knees follow so you return onto your back, arms to T, and do one more circle with the knees. And then kick the legs up into a V and kick out through the heels. Shake the legs a little bit. Bring the knees into the chest. Wrap the hands around the shins. Gently curl up. And then roll onto the left side. And very gently push yourself up to seated. Take a twist to your left. The legs can stagger however is comfortable. Gently gaze over the left shoulder. Take a breath. And then reach the arms up, lift the knees, and slowly let them roll to the other side. Release the hands down. If you need more real estate on this side, you can scooch back a little bit. We'll gently make our way down onto our right side for the second side of the sequence. And so line up the heels with the hips, one straight line. Hand to the hips, make sure the hips stay still. Feet stay together, gently begin lifting the left knee now. And one side might feel easier than the other, so try to notice that. Don't try to lift the knee higher, we're just trying to let these muscles gently activate. You can bring the hand to those muscles so you can feel that gentle activation. And if it ever feels like a strain or too much, don't go as far or take a break. Nothing should feel like a strain. Make sure you're breathing. The next time the leg is lifted, pause. Feel the warmth on the outside of the left hip. That's the deeper layer of the glutes firing. And just imagine a spiral from the hip to the big toe. We'll talk about that later. And now reach the hands forward. Gently draw your big rainbow coming on to the back and cross the left leg over the right this time. Keep the shoulders down as you stretch the knees back to the right. And then slowly point the knees back up. Hover the shins and draw your circles. And let this circle drawing start to wake up the muscles in the core. See if you can feel how the deep abdominals are supporting the top of the pelvis here and preventing too much movement. Go the opposite direction. And then reach the arms out to T so their shoulders are nice and stable. Release the right foot down. Very slowly allow the left knee to point back towards the screen. Let the arms stack once again. And then support the head with the bottom arm, however is most comfortable. Reach left fingertips forward and gently circle the arm up and overhead. Pause with the arm overhead and feel that sensation of the arm reaching, the waistline lengthening. Maybe you can even feel some sensation in that left hip. And then take a little circle behind you, but we don't want too much of a twist here. Go back the way you came. And trace that pathway a few times and see if you can notice how the left arm is connected into the left side of the body. And the left side of the body connects into the left hip, including the glutes that you were just warming. And the left side of the hip connects down into the outside of the left leg. The next time the hand circles forward, pause there, stack both hands. And slowly open onto the back. One more time, circle the legs. And then kick the heels up to a V. Flex the feet and bring your awareness into the back of the legs. Let the back of the legs open. And then gently kick the legs. Be really soft here. Let it be an experiment of how little muscular effort you can use. Ah, nice. That's a good cue. Let's try to maintain that softness through the rest of class. Lower the soles of the feet down. Roll back onto the right side, stacking the hands. And we're going to play with the awareness that you've woken up in the glutes by rolling from side to side. So slowly lift the left knee just like before. This time lift the left arm as well. Let that start to pull you through center. Keep the feet together and roll onto the other side. And then we reverse it. So the right knee lifts, feet stay together. That actually makes it harder. And then roll back from side to side. Continue at your own pace and see if you can feel how the glutes are gently engaging to lift that knee and how that tone is maintained as you move. Also, start to notice the connection point between the big toes. Throughout our class, we'll be anchoring the big toe and letting the glutes engage. So just begin noticing that pathway now. The next time you roll onto the left side, pause there and very gently start to push yourself up to seated. Stagger the legs however is comfortable. Make sure the inside of the left knee feels supported. And then twist to the right. And I might have told you to go the wrong way, so I'm sorry. I'm practicing on not mirroring, or I'm practicing mirroring, and I haven't been mirroring for a while. So we should all be twisting to the right, and you should be facing me. And so if I accidentally cued you to come up the wrong way, take a moment to adjust. Take a couple of breaths here. And then turn to face the screen. Lift the left knee and sit cross-legged. Make sure the hips and knees feel comfortable here. Now we're going to give ourselves a little bit of a foot massage. So lift the left foot first. Give the leg a little cradle to release the hip. Make some circles here. It's okay for your spine to round if that makes it more comfortable to lift the leg. Just make sure you're not feeling pressure or tightness if the spine is rounding. And then to access the foot, I like to rest it on the other leg, but just make sure it feels comfortable and there's no pressure in the knee or hip. Begin gently allowing the fingertips to brush the bottom of the foot. And notice that very delicate sensation. It's almost like tickly, but good thing you can't tickle yourself. And then pinch each of your toes and feel how cushy they are. And the most interesting part of this exercise is the awareness that we wake up in the foot. So really try to feel the sensation of your fingers and thumb pushing. Now we can move to the big toe mound and the ball of the foot. And try to feel all the different bones in the foot. You can even close the eyes. And make your way down towards the arch of the foot. And if you ever feel an area that is tender or tight, be really gentle. Oftentimes muscles respond better to sweetness, right? You catch more flies with honey than vinegar. It's the same with your feet. Who knew? On the And then make your way towards the heel and give the pad of the heel some squeezes. And then bring the heel down to the floor in front of you. And I actually enjoy rolling the heel on the floor a little bit better than massaging it. And notice as the heel rolls, how the toes naturally change directions, the knee naturally changes directions, the thigh bone in the hip socket naturally changes directions. You don't have to do any of it. It all naturally follows with effortless effort. Okay, place the left foot in front of the left hip and anchor the big toe down. Don't let it lift. Imagine you're doing clamshells like we did on our side before. So bring your hand to your glute and ever so gently let that muscle engage to bring the knee a little wider. Do this a few times and notice how the arch of the foot gently lifts when you do this. This is something in our trainings we call the big toe to glute connection. And this provides a lot of support for the inner knee. It's very strengthening for the foot and supportive for the hip. We're going to be working with this a lot in class, and I want to make sure you guys can wake it up in this gentle way. Give me a thumbs up if you're feeling that. If you can feel how the big toe connects down into the earth and then the glute stabilizes into the pelvis. Nice. Great. And the next time that happens, pause there, lift the hands, take a gentle twist to the left. Take one breath here. And then lift the hands, go the other way, lower onto the right forearm and slowly stretch the whole right side of the body out. Oh, and it should feel so good because we've been in hip flexion for a while. Oh, the left side, sorry. Okay, I'll get it. And then bring the knee back up, and we're going to play between those two shapes. So first, big toe, glute, feel that spiral, and then take your twist. Even though you can't see your foot as you're twisting, see if you can feel the big toe anchoring, the arch lifting, and that support drawing up the inner leg line as the glute engages. And then gently untwist, lower the forearm, let the whole left side of the body unfurl. And now move at your own pace. You can take as many breaths as you want in each position. And just try to bring as much awareness as possible into the big toe, into the inner leg line, all the way up to the outside of the hip. The next time you reach out and lengthen, pause there, take an extra breath. Make sure the bottom shoulder is supported. You can slump into it for a moment and then push down into the elbow to create more space. And then lower the left hand down. Bend the back knee just a little bit. Make sure the big toe is anchored. Very slowly twist to the right and drag the right knee underneath you. Keep the hips lifted and make some big circles with the hips. Notice the flexion of the toe here and see if you can flex the big toe all the way out to the pinky. Sometimes we forget about the outside of the foot. Okay, we've got a really fun transition coming up. Push down with the right hand, walk it forward a few inches, shift the weight forward into the right hand, and then swing the left leg forward into a lunge. Ta-da! Magic. Great job. So left leg should be forward in a short lunge. And now anchor the left big toe like we've been practicing. Play with that gentle engagement of the glute and notice how the knee, the inside of the knee lifts and the knee starts to point over towards the fourth toe or even the pinky. Keep that engagement. Scoop the air up. Take a breath. And then on your next exhale, release the hands down, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and let the back of the leg extend. We'll repeat that a few times. So lower the back knee, anchor left big toe, tone left glute, slowly rise up. And move at your own pace now between those two shapes, releasing down, letting the back leg unfold. You can start to notice the big toe glute connection in the back leg as well. And that spiral is going to just create more support and lift through all of the joints, all the way up into the hips, the pelvic floor. Will even affect the spine. You might feel the core very gently brightening with that extra support. And the next time you release down and lift the back leg, pause there, shift the weight into the right hand, reach the left hand forward, up and back, and take a couple of circles here. See if you can maintain awareness in the left leg, really supporting the left arch, the inner left knee. Breathe. You don't want to create tension with the spiral of support. It should be nice and easy. The next time the left hand comes down, push into the hand, slide the left leg up and back for a three-legged dog. Take a breath here. And then curl or release the left leg down into down dog. Curl the right knee forward into the chest. Draw the right knee in between the hands. Bring the left knee in slightly. Release the hips down. Lift the arms. And now we're ready to do all of that on the second side. So cross the legs in front of you. Pause for a moment. And just let that soak in. We did a lot to wake up the left side of the body, and so notice if you have any special awareness of the left foot, the left knee, the left hip. And then gently lift the left leg and allow the right leg to slide forward. Set the left leg down. And do this a couple of times. And let it be as effortless as possible. Almost like the leg is unfolding. The next time the right leg is in front, pause there. And ever so gently lift the right leg and start to cradle. Make some circles on the right sit bone. You can gently kick the foot into the hand. Check in with the spine, the shoulders, and the low back. A lot of times this action can create strain in the neck and shoulders, so just make sure, however you're seated, it feels supportive. And then I like to cross my right ankle over my left knee, so you can try that if it's comfortable, but really we're just trying to touch our foot. So however it's comfortable to touch your foot, and begin to very gently glide the left hand over the sole of the foot. Imagine you were trying to tickle your own toes and the whole sole of your foot. And just feel that lightness, that lack of pressure, but so much sensation. And then start to gently squeeze the toes. Feeling all the little tiny bones, knuckles. Bring the fingers to the ball of the foot. Play with changing the amount of pressure that you apply and just notice the difference. You can even push with different parts of the thumb, the pad of the thumb or the tip of the thumb, and notice how that changes things. Make your way towards the middle of the foot and the arch. Oh, this is kind of fun. Bring your left hand to your big toe. Bring your right thumb to the arch of your foot and gently push the thumb into the hand. And you can feel the muscles in the arch of the foot engaging. Do you guys feel that? And so when we anchor the big toe down, those muscles turn on and we use that energy to draw support up into the knee. And make your way to your heel. Give your heel a couple of squeezes and then place the heel in front of the left foot and start to circle the weight around the heel. Place the sole of the foot down. Anchor the big toe. You might even see a little bit of action happening in that medial longitudinal arch. Gently tone the glute and see if you can feel it. You can even trace it. Trace from the big toe up across the shin, outside of hip to the glute. This is the pathway. Trace it a couple of times and imagine you're drawing energy up from the big toe, creating a lot of space on the inside of the knee, and then tone on the outside of the hip. And then keep all of that as you twist to the right. Take a couple of breaths. And then slowly start to untwist, lower onto the left forearm. Let the whole right side of the body open. Take a breath there. And then continue at your own pace, just playing from the twist. You can always do exhale, twist, inhale, unfurl, or you can take a full breath on each movement or a couple of breaths. So give yourself the permission to move at your own pace. And you're all yoga teachers. So if you ever feel inspired to add something on, please let this just be a jumping off point for your own exploration of your beautiful form. The next time everything unfurls, pause there. Take an extra moment to reach long through the right side and feel the connection points between right hand and right foot. Nice adjustment with your neck. Lower the right hand down. Gently start to turn to face the mat. Take a breath through down into the left hip. And then tuck the right toes under. Push into the hands. You can slowly drag the left knee underneath you, pointing it forward. The left heel is going to mostly be under the body. Make some circles with the hips here. So not quite pigeon. You might massage across the shin. See if you can keep the top of the foot down, and that's going to strengthen part of the muscles in this pathway that we've been talking about, from the big toe to the glute. And then fun transition, left hand steps forward, one hand print, push into the left hand, shift the weight into the left, let the right foot slide forward into a short lunge. Awesome, Sithara. Push down into the back knee, slowly rising up, and then push into right big toe, tone right glute, and feel that spiral. Let the inside of the right knee open, scoop the air up, take a breath. And then on your next exhale, release the hands down, lift the back knee. And we'll pulse between those two shapes. So release the back knee down, slowly lift up, waking up that extra strength from big toe to glute. And then release back down, lift the back knee. As you pulse here, you are welcome to take a longer stance at any point if you want it. I sometimes enjoy extending my back leg out as the knee lifts. So feel free to give yourself that possibility. The next time the back leg lifts, pause there. flex the back foot, make some circles so that the pinky side of the foot gets some love. And then push into the hands, slide the right foot back either to downward dog or three-legged dog. It's up to you. Take a breath in either variation. And then lower the right foot down. Let the backs of the legs lengthen. Try spiraling the legs here too, so the big toes anchor, gentle tone of the glutes. You can even watch your knees. Notice how they change direction. And they might come into a better anatomical position. So you can release that effort and try it a couple times and see how your knees move. And notice how that affects the spine. And then gently lower the knees down. Walk the hands in to meet the knees. Lift the knees. Keep walking the hands in and very slowly let the back of the body extend. So heels down, hips up. Keep a deep bend in the knees. Let the head hang heavy. Take a couple of breaths. And then shift the weight back into the heels. Drop the hips and slowly roll up. You can support yourself with your hands or you can let your hands hang. We'll all meet in standing, but take your time. And pause at the top and take a couple of breaths. Okay, if you would like to grab a sip of water, you're welcome to have some water. If you're playing music today, you can go to the second track. And we'll re-meet in Tadasana. So you can probably guess the next cue I'm going to give. Anchor your big toes and gently tone your glutes. And it should be like 1% of your effort. So you shouldn't feel any pressure in the low back or any cramping anywhere. It's almost just like an energetic action. As you do that, start to bend the knees, sink the weight into the heels, and shift your hips back. Allow the big toes to anchor, and as the glutes continue to tone, again, notice how the inner knee lifts and the knees gently point open. Push the hands onto the thighs for a moment. Take a breath. And then push into the feet to slowly rise up. Scoop the air up and let the front of the body open. And we're going to do this a couple of times. So release the hands down. Bend into the knees, send the hips back, big toes anchor, glutes fire, hands to thighs, gentle squeeze, take a breath. And then on your next inhale, push into the legs, slowly rise up and let the whole front of the body open. One more time, chair pose, find the spiral from big toe to glutes, let the inner knee open, gently push into the thighs. And then unfold and let the whole front of the body open. Release the hands down. We're going to go for a little walk, but we're going to do it with more intention than we normally do. Step the right foot forward, anchor the right big toe, and tone the glute. Gently twist to the right slightly and feel that spiral. And then step the left foot forward. Do the same thing. Anchor the big toe, tone the glute, and then gently twist into it. So the spiral continues up. And now keep walking around your space, trying to feel that sense of support from the arch of the foot, space in the inner knee, the gentle toning of the glute, and how you're able to spiral into it. Funny, this hand position makes me think of Hamlet. I'm getting really serious and thoughtful. The music is kind of intense too. We'll do a couple more with intention. And then give yourself freedom to walk naturally, but sometimes after moving in a patterned way, you can still feel those spirals happening. We'll just take about 30 more seconds and start to enjoy a freedom in your movement. Maybe that means the arms swing a little bit more. Give yourself the space to be really natural. And then start to make your way back to your mat. And we'll meet on the other side of the mat. So this should be the left side of your mat facing the short edge, and the right side of your body is towards me. And shift the weight from foot to foot. And if you remember from the beginning, imagine trying to pick up a pencil and just gently allow one foot to shorten at a time. And then bring equal weight into both feet. Bring the hands to the front of the hips, but keep the hands flat. And start to draw some infinity signs with the hips. So one big loop to the right, and then it crosses in the center, and then another big loop to the left. And actually it can be small. And this just wakes up the hip sockets from every different angle. And the tricky part is trying to reverse directions. It's a good brain exercise. You might notice how moving the hips in this way shifts the feet, the weight around in the feet. Try to keep the big toes anchored and see if there's a moment when the glutes gently brighten to support you without you consciously doing it. And then come back to center, and we'll return to those chair poses from before where you gently put hands on thighs and squeeze the hands and thighs together. Take a breath, and then slowly come back up, hover and bend the right knee, and let the right side of the body open. And then return to our squeezing chair, and then come up and let the left side of the body open. And we'll take several of these from side to side. And it's not about going into a deep back bend, but try to feel the sense of that one side lengthening from the knee all the way up to the heart. And try to find that sense of the squeezing preparing you for the opening, so it's not random. One movement is actually generating the next movement. The next time the right knee bends and lifts, pause there. Release the right arm down. Keep the hips where they are and gently point the knee from side to side so the leg, the shin tilts behind you like a little rudder. And then grab hold of the right ankle. Take a moment to anchor the left big toe, gently tone the glute, bend the left knee a little bit and bring the weight into the heel. From this neutral position, look down, let the left arm get heavy so you're just in the tiniest forward fold. And on your next exhale, slowly kick the right leg back as you scoop the left arm up. And then inhale back to that deflated position and exhale for the kick. Take a few pulses. If you ever need to take a break, give yourself that permission. We'll all meet in dancer pose. And once you've come to dancer, kick the foot into the hand and see if you can feel how the glutes fire on that right leg. Keep kicking. We really want to allow them to fire actually quite a bit. And then release the leg, but let the kick send the right foot all the way back and open. It will naturally go into a virabhadrasana 2 stance. So if you didn't quite make it that first time, try it again. The kick and the squeeze as that glute fires is going to allow the right foot to kick back into the perfect vira 2 and then just land there. Nice ukie. And so once you've found it, straighten both legs. Bring your awareness down to big toes. Let that spiral happen. Let that spiral lift the spine. Bring the hands together and gently traction the legs together. Squeeze the arms together and feel that sense of energy drawing towards the midline. Take a breath. Now on your next exhale, slowly bend the left knee and float the arms to T. Pause here. Anchor the big toe, tone the glute, let the inner knee lift and open. Notice any sense of extra buoyancy in the pelvis. And then we'll repeat that. Inhale to center, becoming very buoyant. And then exhale, keep the buoyancy as you come into virabhadrasana 2. Continue at your own pace. And just like that cue at the very beginning of class, see how little muscular effort you can apply here. See how relaxed this can be. The next time you're in Vira 2, pause there. We've been focusing on the left leg. Take a moment to spiral up through the right leg. And just notice that sense of both legs creating that support in the ankles, knees, and pelvis. And then bring the left hand to the thigh, let it squeeze, and slowly lengthen the whole right side of the body. As the right arm and right foot stretch apart, you have permission to heel toe that foot further out if you want to, but you might not want to, so just give yourself space and breathe. And then very slowly push into the right toes and start to point the heart down. Bend the right knee and try bouncing on the right foot. And the right foot's naturally going to come in a little bit. Play with that. And then once the hips square forward, gently melt the hands down inside of the left foot and step the left foot back into downward facing dog. Pause, bend the knees, push into the hands, let the hips lift, and then slowly curl the left knee forward into pigeon and sway the hips from side to side, keeping the hips nice and high and lifted. Bring the back knee in slightly, lower the left hip down and roll through the center just like we've been practicing. Take a twist to the right. And then walk the hands forward, extend the left leg, slowly roll to pigeon and then step right back into your downward facing dog. Bend the knees really generously, push into the hands, let the hips lift, sway the hips from side to side. You can even draw some figure eights with the hips here in down dog. And then bend the knees, lower the knees down, walk the hands in towards the knees. Slowly hover the knees, letting the back of the body open into your forward fold. Shift the weight back into the hips and then slowly roll up with or without the support of your hands. Take your time. That was a bad example. I came up too fast. You guys did a much better job than me. Great work. Pause for a moment at the top. And then take a step forward with your left foot. Anchor big toe, tone glute, and twist into the front leg. And then go the other way. We'll just do a few to walk towards the other end of the mat. So we're not going to go quite as long this time. We'll all meet at the other end of the yoga mat. I have short legs, so it probably took me a lot longer. So you can back up if you've gone beyond it. From Tadasana, pause for a moment and just enjoy any sense of support you've got in the arches of the feet, in the ankles, in the knees, in the hips. Take a couple of breaths. You might notice asymmetry in the body. We'll balance everything out now on the second side. So let's start with our chair pose. Send the hips back. This time you can scoop the air up, send weight into the heels, and then bring the hands down to the thighs. Take that squeeze, hand to thigh, and then slowly come up, letting the left side of the body open, and then we'll repeat that from side to side, and then right side opens. And it doesn't matter how far the leg lifts or how deep of a back bend. Try to feel the sense of unity, the front of the body connecting and then lengthening. The next time the left leg lifts, pause there. Release the left hand down and allow the shin to start to sway from side to side, just massaging the left hip socket. So the hips will stay where they are. And that little rudder leg allows the thigh bone to gently turn in and out, giving a little massage. And then grab onto the ankle, bring the knee behind you, relax the right arm down, and let the top of the body deflate for one moment. Take an inhale. On your next exhale, kick the left knee back as you reach the right arm up. And then inhale back to center. Bend the right knee a little extra. Plant the right heel. And take a few pulses. Take a break at any time because I want to make sure there's a moment when we can stay in Dancer. So if you're getting fatigued, take a break now. And then we'll all meet in Dancer. Anchor the right foot down, anchor the big toe, gently tone the right glute, and now kick the left foot into the hand and feel the posterior chain engage. You'll feel your glute engage, maybe even your hamstring, maybe the muscles along the spine, the rector spinae. Point the left knee behind you a little bit more, keep kicking, and then release the foot, but keep that kicking action going and see where the foot lands. Nice. Yeah, and if it's not comfortable, you can always adjust to your most comfortable Vira 2, but sometimes, great job, Ria, sometimes that foot just lands right in the magically perfect spot. So now straighten both legs, balance the hips, balance the weight in the feet, bring the palms together, and feel that sense of legs drawing and arms drawing towards the midline. Take a breath. On your next exhale, bend the right knee and hover the arms. Move at your own pace, inhaling to center and exhaling into Vira 2. And each time you come into Vira 2, bring your awareness into the big toe, into the glute, and try to feel that spiral that lifts the arch, supports the knee, and supports the back of the hip. The next time you come into Vira 2, pause there. Try to feel that same spiral happening in the back foot. As you do it, you might feel the arch of that foot lift a little bit more. Sometimes we forget about that arch and it collapses. And then right hand to thigh. Start to squeeze like we did in chair pose and let the left side of the body lengthen and unfold. Stay right there, or you have permission to heel toe the foot out as long as you still feel this supported lift, right? It doesn't matter how far we go. It's just sometimes the body wants that and you can explore it safely. And then we start to transition to squaring our hips to the right. So bounce on the left toes until the hips are facing the short edge of the mat. And then very slowly release the hands down inside of the right foot. Release the back knee down. Make some nice hip circles here. And then keep the weight in the left hand and circle the right arm forward, up and back a couple of times. And then release the right hand down inside of the foot and send the right foot back into down dog or three-legged, whichever you prefer. We'll take a couple of breaths. And then bend the right knee. Bring the right knee forward towards the right wrist. Swivel the shin a little bit. Make some circles with the hips, and we'll have the option to go a little bit deeper, but we don't have to. So we can keep circling just like we did before, or you can lower the back knee, lift the right hand, and start to circle the right hand up and back. So you're twisting into the right leg. And try gently as you twist, allowing the inner thighs to squeeze so there's a sense of the hips lifting. Nice, that looks so great. If you want to play with bending the back knee, you can. That's not for everyone, but you can try it if it feels good. And the next time the right hand comes down, pause there. Melt the right hip over to the right and bend the left knee. So we're back in that staggered stance that we've done a lot. Don't worry, we're going to go to the other side in a moment. One optional thing here, it might not be for everyone's hips, but you can try to explore the support that you've cultivated in your hips today by gently shifting the weight forward and lifting. This is a great functional movement pattern. Just make sure there's no pain as you do this. So if it feels okay, you can explore a couple of rounds of this. Nice. It's great to see everyone honoring their body. And then the next time the hips come down, lift the knees, bringing the soles of the feet down, and then swivel the shins the other way. So we'll start with pigeon, and then we'll have that experiment on the second side. So hands frame the front knee. Let the hips lift and extend the back leg. Start with your circles. You can keep the hips lifted and continue circling, or you can lower the back knee and reach left hand forward, up and back. Make sure you're breathing, especially in these deeper hip postures. If you want to play with bending the back knee, I recommend bending the knee as the arm circles up and back, and then extending the leg as the arms down and forward. But there's no right or wrong. That's just what works for me. Maintain awareness of the front knee and shin pushing down. And we've spent a lot of time trying to cultivate space in the inner knee. See if you can still feel the glute supporting you here, creating space and buoyancy in the knee. Maybe the arch of the foot is engaged even though the sole of the foot isn't even down. The next time the hand circles down, gently release the left hip down, bend the right knee. And doesn't matter what angle the knees are here, so just whatever's comfortable for you, and you have the option to play with lifting. Just make sure your hip sockets feel supported. I find it easier to not go all the way down and to do pulses higher up, so feel free to try that. And then as it gets easier, you can play with coming all the way down and then coming back up with control. Okay, and the next time the hips come down, lift the hands, roll through center, bring the soles of the feet together. Support the outside of the knees and anchor the big toes together, just like we've been practicing with the earth. Let the glutes gently tone, and now notice how that spiral can take you into a supported buttock Konasana. You might be used to your knees going further down, and just be aware of how it feels to have a little bit more support in this pose. Walk the hands behind you and paw out the mat so you shift gently from side to side. And then shift all the way to the right. Let the knees close like a book. And then go all the way to the left. Kind of like what we did on our back before, but now we're doing it seated. I'm having fun trying to be as weightless on my hands as possible, though I definitely am putting the back hand down eventually. And then you can add on a twist as the legs close. You can twist all the way to that side. And just make sure you have the opportunity to twist on both sides. And then you can go to the next track. This will be our last track of class today, Inner Sanctum. And it's really the track that is going to take you through finding all of the props that you'll need for the restorative pose we're about to do. It's really epic. You might be slightly annoyed by how many things I'm going to make you get, but I promise it's going to feel so good. It's really worth it. Okay, so hang in there. It's worth it. So I don't have a bolster, so I use a couch cushion. If you've got a bolster, that's better, but you want something pretty supportive. There's more. You'll need a support for each of your arms. And so a folded blanket works, or a cushion, more couch cushions. Basically, we're building a fort. I'm going to make you guys build a fort so that you feel very safe for Shavasana. So some kind of cushion or blanket for each arm. There's more. You'll need a longer rolled up blanket that will support your knees. So another blanket, and I'm going to give you enough time to get all this. And then this is the last thing, I swear, but it's the hardest thing. The cushion is going to be up at an angle. So yoga studio style is 2 blocks, which I realize not everyone has. So if you don't have 2 blocks, another cushion, some books. Sithara, you've got lots of nice books behind you. You can make a sculpture with your books. But basically, we need a ramp. I promise it's worth it. So here's the list. Couch cushion, something to create a ramp, and then 3 blankets or 2 cushions and a blanket. Oh, wow. My mom has like a wedge thing. That's great. You might need a pillow on top of that, Mom, so it's a little steeper, but that's great. Oh, beautiful. Yukie, you have a bolster and blocks. Very nice. Oh, she also has a blanket for on top. I didn't mention that. You're going to want to be a lovely temperature. So if you need socks or a blanket or a sweater, take your time. Oh, Yukie knows. You know what we're going to do. So I'll wait for everyone to get back, but if you're here and you've got all the things, I'll just demo where we're going, and you're welcome to get a head start. And don't worry if you're just arriving, I'm going to talk you into this. And it's going to be worth it. And before you get too comfortable, I do recommend silence for the pose itself. So just make sure your music is close and you can pause once we get into it. Okay, everybody that I can see is back. So hopefully the people I can't see are also there. Oh, thank you. Satyam recommends dimming the lights as well. Lighting some candles, whatever helps you. So step 1 is setting up our ramp If you've got blocks, one is at the lowest height, one is at the highest height. If you've got books, just create a diagonal and then place your bolster or cushion on top. And you can take a moment to, before you set everything up, you can test it out to make sure. Basically, you want to make sure that the head is supported and the lungs feel very open so you can breathe naturally. It's not a back bend. The spine is pretty neutral. And then the next step is taking your blanket. You'll want it a little wider than the normal yoga blanket situation and roll it up. Mine is probably about like 2.5 feet long. And then the roll is going to go on top of your feet in Baddha Konasana, so the pose we just were in before I sent you on this mission. The blanket goes on top of the feet and underneath the knees. And even if you're very flexible, the goal isn't to feel a stretch. You don't want to feel actually any stretching in the hip. So you want, if you need more support, then you just tuck the blanket in closer to the ankles. The lower the blanket is, the higher the knees are going to be, if that makes sense. So take a moment to support the ankles. And then your final set of blankets or cushions is so that when you recline, your hands and arms are supported and you've got a nice bend in the elbows. And make sure your low back feels supported, which might mean you have to scoot in towards the prop a little bit more and then readjust the feet. And I think the trickiest parts are making sure the low back feels good, making sure the neck feels good. And so take your time adjusting towards your bolster, wiggling out the hips, letting there be the natural arch of the low back, but not increasing it. And then gently lengthen up through the back of the neck, tucking the chin. So you've got a lot of space in the back of the neck. Your neck looks great, Ria. Good job. And if you're not sure, you can unmute and ask, but from what I can see, you guys look very supported and comfortable. And so once you've found your throne, your hip opening throne, start to find that sensation of settling. And I know I mentioned this before, but you do not want to feel a stretch in the hips here. You want the hips to feel just as supported as your spine and your arms do. And once you've found that very sweet, nourishing, supportive position, you can tune into the breath. Notice how easily the breath can fill the lungs in this supportive posture. And as we relax and I eventually stop cueing, just know that every breath is bringing this deep nourishment, not just physically, but also energetically. These restorative poses tell our bodies and our nervous systems we are safe. And it gives us an opportunity to be nourished so very deeply. And so give yourself permission to feel safe. And we'll relax in this posture for several minutes. Um, so you're welcome to stay in this position for Shavasana if you really like it. I'll also be offering a supportive version of Shavasana. So if you'd like to try that, begin by gently supporting your legs so your knees point upward. Bring the soles of the feet to the floor and push your blanket out of the way. Pause for a moment at neutral. Push the feet into the ground. Push hands and thighs together like we've done in a couple of different poses, and take a couple of breaths. And then gently bring your knees into your chest. Curl the body up to meet the knees. Grab behind the thighs and send the legs forward so you're sitting upright. Take your big cushion, and the big cushion is now going to go behind the knees. So it's okay if it's a couch cushion or like a nice yoga bolster. Either one works well. The ones for your arms are actually still going to be for your arms, but they'll just be for your hands, so you can push them a little further away. You won't need the blocks anymore. And I like to have my head on the yoga mat, but sometimes people like a blanket with a little extra fold, so your head is here and your shoulders are here. So you're welcome to try blanket or no blanket. And then you'll recline and let the elbows bend and allow your blankets to support your wrists so that the arms are really nice and soft. Lengthen through the back of the neck. Push down into the legs to lift the sacrum, and then gently set the sacrum down. Bring the feet a little further apart. And then make sure there's no area of the body that's giving you feedback. So if you're feeling pressure, or you just are really noticing something like your wrists or your neck, see if you can gently adjust. Maybe allow the wrist blankets to be lower until you can find that still point. And we'll rest here for the remainder of our class. Just letting the body benefit so deeply from this relaxed state. Letting the energy body be nourished by your breath. And letting your focus sink deeper and deeper into your true nature, which is the bliss body beyond all other layers of yourself. We'll rest here now. Begin making very gentle movements with your fingers and your toes. Imagine your breath bringing energy into every cell of your body. Can do anything that feels inviting. Sometimes it's nice to stretch the arms overhead and reach through the whole body. And you can eventually roll to one side and pause there for a moment, just feeling supported and at ease. And then consciously begin supporting yourself up to a comfortable seat. You might feel a little sedated at first, but really, this is a state of very deep calm and very deep awareness. And so, bring a little extra energy into the body by doing a gentle back bend. Back bends are stimulating. And let the front of the body open. Take a couple of breaths, feeling the spine. And then come back to neutral. And find that balance point where you don't have to do anything to sit upright. The front is supporting you, the back is supporting you, and you're just floating. Let your awareness drop down into your heart. And take a few breaths at the heart. Can ever so gently smile. And notice what that reveals more deeply at the heart. And I'm sorry that we don't have more time to actually meditate. But notice how spending that extra time supporting yourself and letting your nervous system relax. Notice how you feel right now. Maybe naturally in a soothed meditative state. And see what naturally bubbles up from inside when you're in this natural state. Thank you so much for practicing. Namaste. I'm sorry, there's so much cleanup. Maybe you can actually build a fort now. I hope everyone feels great. Thanks so much for coming. See many of you on Friday. And have a great week, everybody else. Thanks for coming. Yukie, so good to see you. Can we meet your dog? Thanks for coming, Mom. You look very relaxed. Good. I could read your lips.
Yeah, I'm still very relaxed. I think I'll still
Yeah, I guess it's about bedtime there. Oh.
Yeah, getting
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bye. Thanks for coming, Roseanne. Great to see you.